and his spirit of innovation, and it's fitting that that tradition is alive and well in Scotland today and is being championed by Edinburgh Napier University. And as was said at the beginning, it's a night for celebration, and it's a night for a few pats on the back as well, I think, in terms of the journey that you have been on. Edinburgh Napier University has long championed Scotland on an international stage when it comes to things like cyber security and resilience, in terms of education, raising public awareness, research and working with industry. And all of those themes are seen in this latest collaboration. The BlockPass Identity Lab expands and builds on that success and on the milestones achieved by this university, whether it's the Cyber Academy launched in 2015, the Security Operations Centre Training Lab, and Napier was of course the first university in Scotland to have a cyber security course accredited by the UK National Cyber Security Centre for their MSc in Advanced Security and Digital Forensics, and only 20 universities in the UK have attained this level. So there is much to be proud of. And yet what's so encouraging about tonight, it's not just a case of sitting back on our laurels and looking at how far we've come, it's also about planning for the future. And the welcome to BlockPass's investment of £600,000 in this innovative collaboration between business and academia. The fact that this has come to fruition, often when I speak to businesses, whether it's here in Scotland or internationally, they say that one of the most critical things for them is having those close relationships with research institutes like Napier. A strong culture of innovation as well as excellence in research and development. And universities focusing on cyber resilience have made a lot of progress in harnessing this research power by bringing academia and industry together. And often we can celebrate what's going on in our research institutions, in academia, and then we move into another strategy or another forum or another remit, and we celebrate what's going on in industry. And what's so critical when it comes to the tech industry is breaking down those barriers and ensuring that there's collaboration and partnership working. I am sure the lab will play a significant role in raising the research profile of Scotland internationally, and indeed the BlockPass Identity Lab is already off to a flying start. It's not just about what's going on here tonight in Edinburgh, it's about what the rest of the world looks to Scotland and sees, and I hope that after tonight they will continue to see that strong theme of innovation. I understand that collaborative blockchain projects with industry are already underway in the medical and construction industries, and projects are underway to investigate ways in which blockchain can incorporate security into complicated construction processes and to maintain valid and auditable records of the movement of medical devices through their life cycle. Criminal exploitation of the internet is growing rapidly. We're all very aware of that. And it's the challenge before is to keep up and actually to keep ahead of those threats. Cyber attacks will continue to evolve, and we need to work at pace to deliver groundbreaking innovation to reduce the threat to critical services, our financial, business, public and third sectors, and to deter would-be attackers. And it's a great opportunity for Scotland, because I believe that Scotland, with its strong networks of key organisations and individuals and its tradition of innovation, I don't know if I mentioned that tradition of innovation, but its tradition of innovation is well placed to become a recognised and respected international hub for cyber security, agile, able to respond and able to develop in a rapidly changing and sophisticated digital environment. And it seems fitting that we're celebrating this evening, because my colleague Derek Mackay, the Cabinet Secretary for Finance, Economy and Fair Work, this morning launched the Economic Opportunity Action Plan on cyber resilience, which seeks to ensure that Scotland is in a position to reap the economic benefits that ever-growing global demand for cyber security goods and services will bring. And these issues need to go together. As the Minister for Public Finance, who sees Scotland's public finances and knows that there's an ever-pressing need for economic growth in Scotland to close the productivity gap, and at the same time with the hat of digital economy, I see these two things as working so closely together to solve each other's problems. The action plan, and it's worth a read if you've not seen it, sets out the practical steps, not just the vision we have, but the practical steps that we and partners will take collectively to grow Scotland's cybersecurity industry, to encourage the development of innovative cybersecurity research, and to develop world-leading cybersecurity goods and services. So, I know you've got a packed evening with a number of speakers, and so I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I just want to finish by restating my delight at this collaboration between BlockPass and Edinburgh Napier University. The vision that went into it, the hard work, the grit and determination to take you along that journey, and the fact that we have something so special to celebrate tonight. It's such a great example of that partnership working which I mentioned, which will help ensure that Scotland has innovative cybersecurity goods and services industry. And so I want to close by wishing you every success, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That's provided a really good context for our evening. I'm now pleased to introduce Professor Andrea Nolan, the Principal of Edinburgh Napier University. Andrea was the first woman to hold the role of Convener of University Scotland. She's currently Chair of the Advisory Board of Interface, an organisation designed to connect businesses and academics, which perfectly sums up the new partnership with BlockPass tonight. Please join me in welcoming Andrea.
Thank you, Sally. I'd really like to add my welcome to everybody this evening to that of Kate, our Minister. And I think you set the scene really well. I'm not going to mention Scotland's record innovation, or I will, because it is phenomenal. But thank you for setting that scene and looking the vision forward. As Sally said, I do chair Interface, which is about matchmaking, if you like, between business and academia to try and exploit the fantastic expertise we have in academia here in Scotland. And what makes me really proud to be principal of Edinburgh Napier University is I believe we have a history of building those partnerships, but not just building them for the sake of partnerships, but to deliver real impact for Scotland. And I particularly see that spirit of linking with partnerships with business in our School of Computing. I mean, it's just flying basically at the moment. The School of Computing, they're out building links, building their research, developing degree programs and courses that really enable our graduates to contribute when they go into the world of work. And a good example of some of the innovation just in the last 5 years, and we're not an enormous university, we've had 3 spin-outs, ZoneFox, Symphonic and Cyan Forensics, who've all been hugely successful, winning awards, and most importantly, winning contracts and building their reputations and size indeed as successful businesses. And I would like to mention, of course, the fact that these spin-outs and many other awards and accolades the university and the school has had. One of the most recent was to Bill Buchanan, who was awarded the award for outstanding contribution to knowledge exchange of the Scottish Knowledge Exchange Awards last year. And Bill is a tremendous example and a role model for many, well, for all our students, but also many of our early career researchers, as to how you build your research, you link it to people in business to make an impact and a difference. I'm absolutely delighted that we have developed this partnership with BlockPass. I met Adam and Hans just briefly, and I hope to meet other people who are here from BlockPass. I know some people have flown in from Vietnam and are barely standing because of the jet lag. You're all very, very welcome. And I do hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. But it's a real example, this lab and this partnership, of the innovation of the school and indeed of the university. And it does represent a significant investment by BlockPass and a new partnership for our university. BlockPass are a Hong Kong-based global tech company harnessing blockchain to keep digital assets secure. But I was learning from Adam this morning, must be the new world where, yes, they're based in Hong Kong, but they have developers in Vietnam, they have people in Singapore, they have people in London. What a fantastic, rich cultural mix, which I believe is really important for success in the world and in the future. BlockPass have established this blockchain-based technology that can support verification of humans, objects, and connected devices. And this technology is going to be able to provide trusted connections between humans and device entities. And I'm a vet. I'm not really great on technology, but I can understand when I think of automatic cars and the implications of perhaps people hacking into those, the significance of blockchain technology and its potential impact in the future. We have developed this unique partnership model. The vision for the Identity Lab is to conduct leading edge research using the latest blockchain technology. Scotland has a reputation of trusted status and a good place to do business, and I believe the lab is very well and uniquely placed to further enhance our growing reputation here in Scotland and also to build the success of the company. And in this environment, Sally has already mentioned, but I do want to say that the lab is going to have PhD students and research fellows, and it's also going to be embedded in an environment that enjoys the biggest undergraduate and accredited postgraduate cybersecurity courses in Scotland. And that's a really important environment for all our researchers and our students. So you create this critical mass and there's a real buzz and excitement of expertise. And indeed, the most recent development from the School of Computing, which has been fantastic, is our graduate apprenticeship in cybersecurity. We have really gone into the workplace to say, what are your needs? How can we help you develop and upskill? And I'm delighted that we have brought that online. So I'm going to stop here, and there are more people to talk to this evening. I'm absolutely delighted to see so many people here. It's a wonderful launch to have our new lab and, most importantly, our new partnership with BlockPass. So enjoy the rest of the evening, and thank you, Sally, for the invitation here.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Our next speaker is Johanna Cherry, who's the MP for Edinburgh South West. That's our local constituency. Johanna's a tireless constituency MP and a real friend to Edinburgh Napier. Johanna's a QC, quickly recognised that MPs would benefit from increased awareness of the issues of cybersecurity to inform new legislation. We're really delighted she can join us this evening. Please welcome Johanna Cherry.
Well, thank you very much, Principal, Dean, Minister, and Professor Buchanan and other distinguished guests and students. I'm really chuffed to be here this evening to help launch what I understand from Professor Buchanan is the world's first identity research lab. And I'm also really pleased to be able to welcome the exciting partnership between Napier and BlockPass. It was my privilege to talk with Adam and Hans earlier, and it's been my privilege since I became the MP for this constituency to get to know Professor Buchanan and his very energetic team, and I hope to support their work and learn a little bit about it. The principal said that she's a vet and not very good with tech. Well, I'm a lawyer, we're even worse with tech, but the professor and his team have been of great assistance to me in understanding some of the aspects of their work, which helped me work on the Investigatory Powers Bill in Parliament and also on issues of cybersecurity. And I know that the professor and his team always have big ambitions. So when they say to me that they aim to become a world leader in the field of sovereign identity, I really believe that they will be able to do that. And I've had a bit of a crash course in trying to understand what
blockchain actually is. I had to have it explained to me at least 3 times before I started to have any dawning understanding. But I do think that what's really important from the layperson's point of view is that the existing digital world doesn't always inspire trust, and people are aware that they're left open to fraud. But this technology seems to me to give us the opportunity to integrate digital trust into every single interaction we make with the internet. And as a politician, I'm acutely aware that the GDPR calls for citizens to have more control over their data. And I'm really proud that this lab is in my constituency and will be working to support the design of digital systems that will give ordinary citizens control over their data and put them at the heart of the design that will assist that. Now, Estonia has famously built a digital society and is on the cutting edge of using blockchain to run a fully digital infrastructure. And I read a couple of days ago that His Holiness Pope Francis has actually become an e-resident of Estonia. Not quite sure why he would want to do that, but it shows the reach of Estonia's ideas about e-residency. And while Scotland might not want to copy Estonia in every respect, I think it does show that Estonia shows that small countries like Scotland have the potential to innovate fast in new technologies, and perhaps faster than large countries. And so I think that really does mean that Scotland has the means to be a world leader in this area. And of course, as the Minister said earlier, John Napier, after whom this university is named, discovered logarithms and innovated with the use of the decimal point. So this lab in a university named after him is very well placed to be an innovator and a place of discovery. And Edinburgh is a very good situation for it, because of course Edinburgh was part of the first Enlightenment and has the potential to become a leading city, as other speakers have said, across the world for blockchain and digital identity. And I understand from Professor Buchanan that this lab's also going to open up great new opportunities for collaborations, not just across Europe, but across the world, and to host leading scholars and academics in Edinburgh, but who will come from Europe and beyond. And with all the problems and threats that Brexit brings, I think such outward-looking projects and welcoming approach to innovation is very, very important in the city. And I think it fits very well with the principle of inclusivity that is at the heart of this school of computing. So I'm just a lowly opposition MP at Westminster, but I'm delighted that my colleagues in the Scottish Government have really laid the ground for a big push in using blockchain in public services. And I was privileged recently to meet with a company called Wallet Services, I think some of them are here tonight, who produced a report for the Scottish Government Digital Directorate on how we might use distributed ledger technologies in public services. And Wallet Services are also Edinburgh-based. And I think there are many companies here tonight with a base in Edinburgh. Some run from people who've come from as far away as the States, and I think it's really great to see people choosing to come to Edinburgh and Scotland to innovate. So I very much look forward to my Scottish Government colleagues taking this kind of a vision forward, and I'm sure that this lab is going to be of vital assistance to them in doing that. And thank you again for inviting me along to celebrate your launch, and I hope you have a great night and a great future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We now have an opportunity to hear from BlockPass in no less a person than Adam Vaziri, who is the CEO and founder. Adam's a lawyer by trade and has been pioneering blockchain technology with a vision to build a better and smarter global economy. The BlockPass Identity Lab is part of this vision. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Adam to Edinburgh Napier University.
Thank you, and this is such an amazing occasion for us, and I feel like it's a culmination of many years of trying to bring blockchain into the mainstream. I just started as a lowly lawyer, the only lawyer, in fact, in Europe that specialized in blockchain in 2013. So it's a long journey, and it's amazing to see them, a situation like this to crystallize. So, the internet is broken. We hear too many stories of websites getting hacked, user data being stolen. The infrastructure also is lopsided, favoring the consolidation of the control into the hands of conglomerates, and that the role of the user, the consumer, the citizen, has little or no importance, and that the user has little or no power in our infrastructure. The user, the consumer, the citizen has to wrestle back that control. Equifax hack affected 150 million people in the US and Canada. That's quite a big proportion of the US population. Cambridge Analytica's abuse of Facebook data had enduring political repercussions. But what is true in all of this is that the user, the consumer, and the citizen needs more control over the thing that they assumed that they already had control over, their data. Governments and regulators are now recognizing that a rebalance is required. GDPR now empowers the user, giving modern relevance to a fundamental human right, namely the right to privacy. But rights are empty if they are not practicable, if they are rarely enforced. And the solution is not only through regulation, although that has an instrumental role in placing the guardrails in any industry. The solution is to rethink the technology that was the cause of the problem in the first place, and to build a technological solution for a technology-based problem. For the internet as infrastructure, it has endemically lacked trust. Our communications can be spoofed, our identity fraudulently used, our news fabricated. With the blockchain, however, we finally have a technological solution to this problem of lack of trust. We can prove interactions irreversibly, identities in an immutable fashion. We can provide an accountability layer where none existed prior. Our goal in the establishment of the BlockPass Identity Lab is twofold: to bring the user, the consumer, the citizen back into the driver's seat and at the core of the internet revolution by empowering them, to ensure that the right to privacy, to the sanctity of human thought and creativity, comes first in a new world of data harvesting, big data analytics, and artificial intelligence. BlockPass set out last year as a project to build a user-centric digital identity, but we quickly fell upon the realization that we could not do this alone. We needed the support of academics, the industry around it, governments even, luminaries, to strengthen and re-architect the change that we anticipated. I was deeply impressed with the research engagement and thought leadership of Professor Bill Buchanan, and reached out to see if there was an interest in helping us build the new roads for the digital economy. Very quickly in our interactions, it became apparent that we had a strong sense of alignment around the same problem and a natural common purpose. It is a platitude to say today that we are proud about starting this lab. We are excited and overwhelmed with both the opportunity and the responsibility of being the first in the world to build a blockchain identity research lab. Some are worried in the UK about exiting the European Union, the loss of opportunity that may result. But here, from Scotland, we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build the new foundation for a global digital economy and unlock tremendous value, but more importantly, to empower the user, the consumer, and the citizen. As stated by your compatriot, Scottish philosopher David Hume, who was a great influencer on democratic thought, it is seldom that liberty of any kind is lost all at once. Digital identity based on trust, compliance, and uncompromising privacy is the true counterbalance to the incremental reductionism of liberty in our digital age. It is our mission to provide a counterweight, and that there is no better place than from the seat of Scotland to do so. So we are very, very proud to be here today and very honoured with the opportunity to work in these circumstances. Thank you very much.
So the lab is designed to promote collaborative, world-leading research, and we're joined this evening by Spiritus, who provides software and analytics for clinical asset management, decontamination and infection control. Blockchain research will focus on reducing risk and complying with increasingly complex health regulations. Please join me in welcoming Susan Ramanap, CEO of Spiritus.
Thank you, Dean, Chancellor, ministers, and guests. Adam, tremendous ambition and energy. Hats off. As I think he probably quickly realized, and I did some 18 months ago, Bill is a force of nature. I remember my first session with him, his eyes were popping out of his head, and mine were too, and how we had connected. When I talked to him about over 2 years of work we'd done around medical devices and some of the challenges that existed, not in a supply chain sense, but at the point of care, knowing and understanding whether medical device or equipment was safe, secure, and compliant, with all the knock-on effects for patients, clinicians, and otherwise. That journey also included and dovetailed with a theme that we also heard today, which is about partnership and Scotland's assets and Scotland's ability to bring universities, business together with the third sector and with government. That has been our experience. What started as a journey of looking for talent here for analytics and distributed ledger technology ultimately led us to move to Scotland and site our business here. And I'm pleased to say that our team is here in Scotland on George Street. We've got 6 folks that have come from both Scottish and English backgrounds, as well as folks who emigrated from Europe and went to university here. And so I'm very pleased and proud of that team, and I think it's an illustration of the ability to come together. We are grateful for Edinburgh Napier's the collaboration. We've now extended beyond working with Bill and team directly to work with the School of Health and Social Care at Sighthill in the simulated hospital. And we've got numerous use cases where we're going to drive out clinical asset management, that provenance and chain of custody through the facility, and ultimately be able to open up that wedge to understand, to the extent something has gone wrong or might go wrong, where and how that device has been serviced. So infection control, decontamination, and sterilization, they all fit into the back of healthcare operations, but affect patient lives. I say this because I too am a student of history and the Enlightenment, but far more the Burkean conservative who says, you know, there's some things about our state of affairs and our institutions that are much to be preserved. But if we want to preserve them, we must change. We must adapt. So patience, deliberation, discipline, but having a strong vision out there. That is the energy that exists here in Scotland. As an American, I like to say, let's take that hill. And then hear back from my Scottish team, I butt. And I think that combination of energy and vision and understanding that we are in a global world and being able to bring together the kinds of assets that exist, the kinds of partnerships that Edinburgh, Napier, Bill and his team, and the university more broadly can bring, is emphatically one where we can do well by Scotland, but do well by the world at large. And so I share Adam's ambition and energy and wish him all the best of luck and look forward to working with him. Thank you, everybody.
So our final speaker could be said to have put the Bill in the Bill lab. Bill is Professor of Cybersecurity here at Edinburgh Napier University. Bill, I'm just warning you, you're the only thing standing between us and some whiskey, so please join me in welcoming Bill.
Right, well, I'm lucky enough to be able to say thanks to everybody, Justin especially, for all the hard work that he's done, and Liam in organising this. I think you only see the tip of the iceberg with the lab finished, but they've done so much to support this. Adam, of course, Hans have been amazing collaborators. We took our first PhD student, Adam Hall, who's helped us out so much. Francois has also helped us in arranging this event. But really, I thank the university infrastructure for making things so easy. My dean, Sally, Jesse, Ben, and Andrea, our principal. I hope everyone dismisses the fact that I've just used the first names here. I know I should be using formal names here, but they're all part of the Napier team here. So the internet is only 40 years old when you think about it. It's just it's hardly really had time to really develop properly. But we've moved from an industrial age into an information age. And really, as Adam said, the internet that we've created is completely 100% flawed. I tried to vote in the referendum, not that referendum, but the referendum before that one, and I was turned away. He said, you can't vote here. I said, well, I can. I pay taxes. I live just up the road here. This is my wife. I want to vote. So you don't live here. You live in Leith. And I said, well, I think my son lives in Leith, and he came back from America and set himself up in Leith. And what I'd discovered is that someone somewhere had taken my identity and placed it in Leith. And for a fact, I'm considerably older than my son, and I just couldn't believe that that could happen in this modern era, that my identity could be stolen by my son. He didn't steal it. Some administrator somewhere had decided that I didn't exist and I existed somewhere else. So it was from then on that I could really see that identity was going to be the core part of everything that we have in our world. I echo exactly what Adam says. Ownership, privacy and consent will be key in this new world. Too often there are organisations who will steal our data by providing free services, and we need to take back control over our data and really put in place consent mechanisms, which means that virtually every IT system we have ever created is wrong. And sometime soon we need to realise that. The BA hack happened, and for about 2 weeks, every single person who put their credit card details, including CVV number, had their details hacked. 380,000 people's credit card details were hacked. But when the incident report came out, they said, it's okay, your passport hasn't been hacked, that's okay. And then you have to scroll way down the page in the frequently asked questions to find out that I think you should change your credit card details right now. That isn't a world which is citizen focused. That's a world that is still based on an old model that the data, our identities are owned by big business and organisations. So our focus will be about creating citizen-focused systems to put the citizen back at the core of everything that we do. In healthcare, in finance, in all areas of our life, we need to transform our systems to really make sure the citizens have rights. So the core of it will be around blockchain, zero-knowledge proof, anonymised data processing, and advanced crypto. I'm a complete crypto geek. It's the subject that I've found that is the most interesting, and I think we have a vision through Liam and the researchers really to take this forward and to really develop new routes. When I look at our children, our spin-outs, it's so proud to step back from it and see them thrive. We have never ever held them back in any way, but what you're seeing now is a journey of 5-10 years of slog. Symphonic, our second spin-out, is now doing amazing work in London, integrating health and social care across the city, because London is a proactive city. It wants to look after its citizens, and it's broken down models. So now Symphonic are a core part of that information sharing. But we spent 5 years of slogging around, telling people that this was the way that things could be done, and many people said it couldn't. But we stuck with it. We had bumps on the road, and we overcame them. So even speaking today, we've got a vision that we should start to be able to be an economic generator. We want to find the best ideas around, and we want to take them to the market and to create the economic opportunities. But at the core, we want to change society and move into an information age. Thank you very much.
Actually, Bill's handed this back to me, but that concludes our formal part of the evening. Please enjoy some food and drink.
No, actually it doesn't.
Oh, sorry, beg your pardon.
Yeah, sorry, there is actually some housekeeping left to do. I'm sorry to keep you away from your whiskey. So there are goodie bags at the back, and I am also your flight attendant tonight, apparently. No, I'm actually so happy to see so many of the people I've collaborated with, so many of the people talking about the vision that we have here in the lab. And also, if you want to have a tour of the lab, there is a signpost, red and blue ribbon. But I am going to stop talking now. I'm going to move off my first favourite, well, hard to decide which one's my favourite topic. I'm going to introduce you to one of my favourite topics, which is whiskey, which we've got in that corner over there. This night's kind of themed around that. If you look at the canopies, we've gone for a very Scottish theme and some fantastic single malts that I'd be happy to discuss with you. All right, everyone have a good night.
It's a slider, is it?